Welcome to Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians, an interactive panel discussion. Fridays at 1 p.m. Brought to you by the Austin Federation of Musicians and with the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some of us work as contractor 1099 workers, and others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry.
The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. We are not experts in unemployment assistance. We are musicians.
The information contained herein does not constitute either legal advice or an official pronouncement or a position of the Austin Federation of Musicians, but rather is only the personal opinions of the panelists. The panelists do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff about a case, and must minimize their involvement with administrative processes. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment-related action. Before taking any employment action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed private sector employment law attorney of your choice. All right, welcome back. It is September 11th, 2020, and this is Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians. Let's see, make sure I got everything set here. Great. Yeah. All right. We always start with the websites, and it looks like it's just going to be me today. The rest of the committee, we've got all kinds of things happening with the committee, which is great. We've got some remote learning with grandkids and kids happening, with meetings with teachers, but we have actual also work happening as well. We've got lessons being taught. We've got a soundtrack, television soundtrack being recorded with one of the members. We've got live streaming performances happening, and you might ask, like, well, it sounds like these people are employed. How come they're on the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee? Well, every single member is still qualifying for unemployment assistance right now, even though we're still working. So as usual, musicians are going to find a way to keep busy, to keep creating, and keep in the profession. But yeah, the work is still vastly diminished right now, as I'm sure it is for you if you're watching this. So keep that in mind. Yeah, so the committee sends its regards, and yeah, we'll probably have some more folks here next week. We do have a little bit of news to discuss this week, though, so I think it's important that we had a session anyway. So yeah, I'm here. I'm Aaron, and thanks for being here. We always go through these websites, of course, at the top of the show. The most accurate place to get information about unemployment in Texas is the Texas Workforce Commission. It's twc.texas.gov. That's the only link we're going to discuss today is there. But they also have a Facebook page. It's Texas Workforce Commission, all one word. After Facebook.com, and they do a press conference there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, still at 2. You can't directly ask a question there, but you can ask a journalist to ask a question for you at that thing. And then there's a comment section that rolls by really fast. A lot of people making a lot of comments there. I'm not sure how productive that is necessarily, but it's there, and it's pretty regular, and it has the latest news as well. So that's a resource. The union, of course, has our Local 433 Musicians Unemployment Information Sharing page on Facebook, and that's where we're putting all the links that we think are relevant, not only from the TWC, but other places as well. Our legislative efforts, the lobbying efforts by the FM, and lots of other things about legislation related to our industry and recovering from COVID. the local, also on our local website, afm433.com, we have a COVID-19 resources page that we try to keep updated with the most essential resources for musicians. And that's afm433.com/COVID-19. We always talk about the website Who Represents Me, wrm.capitol.texas.gov, and that's where you can find out who your senators and representatives are, both at the state level and the federal level. And of course, at the federal level right now is where the real legislation that can help us is taking place. We think, but of course we're getting a lot of help at the state level. The Texas state senators in particular have been very helpful with getting musicians in contact with the TWC, because it is very difficult still to get a phone call with someone who can help you. So usually that has to happen by contacting someone to contact TWC on your behalf, and then they call you. Which we're getting kind of used to not answering the phone, and that can be kind of a troublesome thing when you're waiting on a call. So anyway, that's how you can facilitate that. And then we've added a link there. We got these 6 links there, but the link to the Action Network and the AFM, the American Federation of Musicians campaigns on the Action Network that. At this point, mainly have to still do with the HEROES Act, which has still been sitting in Congress for almost 4 months now. It was passed by the House of Representatives and is still sitting dormant in the Senate. It hasn't even been on the floor to be discussed yet, and that's really a shame, because there's a lot of help in there for the National Endowment for the Arts. There's help for unions. It reinstates the $600 pandemic unemployment assistance. Everything's in there that we really need. There's help for the post office in there. So yeah, it's really a shame. And there's also the HEALS Act that the Republicans in the Senate are working on, but there's not even enough support among the Republicans to pass that yet. So it's dire, but it's very important for us to keep letting them know that we're paying attention, that we're watching, and let our representatives know that we need help, because it's going to be quite a while before musicians really get back to work, and the entertainment industry in general. We're just not going to be able to get to work until people really feel comfortable going out, in public spaces together, using public restrooms, public facilities, and really being out in public again, it's going to be quite a while even after a vaccine is achieved, and we don't know when that's going to happen yet. So, but to keep it on the light side, we always do beverages at the front. I'm doing coffee again with my old Inland Lakes Bulldogs cup here of northern Michigan. And so and I'm the only one here today, but usually we go around the room. You can email questions to the committee's email address, which is ucac@afm433.com. That's Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. And we do take questions and even suggestions for our resources page as well. It'd be great to hear from any of you that have ideas about that. Of course, you can also just type right into the chat at the bottom of the video if you're watching live with us here. And if you are, thanks for being here. And let's see where else. So you can make comments on, of course, our Facebook page. Which I need to pull that up to make sure, just to see if anybody's in there making comments right now. But I don't see. Yeah, I don't see any right now. So yeah, no worries. Yeah. So yeah, let's kind of just rip into the latest. As always, we just recommend to everybody if you're in the unemployment system in Texas, stay in it. If you're a musician, stay in the system. Keep making the what they call the payment request every 2 weeks on the day you're supposed to do it, um, because that's kind of what keeps you in the system. Even if you make enough money to where you don't qualify for benefits that week, musician income goes up and down, and you may qualify the next week or several weeks after that, and that's okay. The weeks that you don't qualify, it stores those weeks up, and you can qualify for benefits further on into the future, and that could be very important. Even if your benefits after the pandemic unemployment assistance and the lost wages assistance programs stop, and your benefit is maybe very small, and you feel like it's not that helpful, keep making that payment request. Keep in the system, because as we saw with the lost wages assistance program, sometimes things are backdated to the weeks where you qualified for the small state assistance payment, and then they beefed it up when that program came in. So yeah, just keep doing that, and yeah, hopefully we can get some help from the federal government again with that, because that leads on to the next topic here. The Lost Wages Assistance Program is officially ending, at least in Texas, and I'll provide the link. I'll put it in the chat room right now, and of course this will be on the archive of the session today. As well, this link will be there. But the best place to learn about it is on the TWC website itself. There's probably lots of other news outlets that have information, but you want to go to the horse's mouth here, and the original source here, which is the Texas Workforce Commission's press release itself. So the last week of funding for the Lost Wages Assistance Program was the week ending September 5th. So we're already out of funds with that, at least according to FEMA. But you can still get that extra $300, probably minus taxes. I definitely would recommend you have them take the taxes out. For those weeks, it only kicked in for 6 weeks, from August 1st until September 5th. And yeah, but for any of those weeks where you qualified for more than $100 from the state, they will kick in that extra $300 from. Turns out it came from the FEMA budget. So, yeah, that we always knew that the FEMA budget, the FEMA funds were going to be limited. We just didn't know how much, and I'm sure it's still there are some states that are still trying to figure out how to implement that money. So we don't know. What the TWC is saying is that they will continue to pay eligible claimants for the approved 6 weeks as long as the existing FEMA funds deposited to TWC remain available. So if you haven't done your payment requests for those weeks, August 1st through September 5th, and you still can, do it. If you're thinking about getting on unemployment and you think you might qualify, do it now, because they will try to pay those funds for those weeks, but they don't know. It sounds like they don't know whether the funds will still be there, depending on when you apply for that assistance and when you qualify for it. So there is, I guess, a note of urgency there. Just because we don't know when a further aid package will go into place as far as the federal government. So yeah, so that's our best advice there. Yeah, keep on with the program of those payment requests. You can make the payment requests late, but you only can do it on the day that you're assigned, or on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday open time that's open for everybody. But Sunday through Wednesday are still reserved for when people are assigned. But you can make that payment request. I believe it's up to 3 weeks late before you're sort of taken out of the system, and you have to get a hold of somebody at the TWC to get reinstated. So yeah, I would recommend not being more than 3 weeks late, so you can continue on, and yeah, try to get the help that we need at this point, because the work is just not there. So. And of course, as usual, musicians are, we're always looking for ways to do the impossible and keep on with this profession that we've chosen, and that is our calling. So yeah, we're hearing about the live streaming stuff. We're hearing about socially distanced gigs are possible. I've been hearing about singing telegram type engagements that are it's like a private engagement, and like sort of a doorstop type of thing. It's socially distanced. That there is some work there. There's obviously teaching lessons is always a thing. We have a duty to pass on our skills and knowledge as musicians to the next generation. And it is possible to teach socially distanced lessons, and it's possible to teach on a video call, like kind of what we're doing now. Just make sure you're getting paid for that. Yeah, and then of course, as it relates to the unemployment assistance program, you have to make sure you declare that income when you're doing that payment request, and you do have to do all of it, even if it means that you don't qualify that week. Like I said, it's disappointing when that happens, but that means you can save that week up for the end of the period that you're on this unemployment assistance. So it doesn't necessarily go away, but yeah, if you don't qualify for 1 week. But yeah, you want to make sure you consistently report all the income that's coming in. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, but some people have asked, if there's any way to not report private lesson income or small gigs and things like that. You really do want to report all of it, just like when you're trying to get a loan or something like that. You want all that income counted. I suppose if you were being paid in paper money, in cash, that might be a little easier to hide, but I'm not sure if it's worth the risk or not. But any other type of payment that's contactless, that's not cash, is traceable through a bank, and so it's going to come back in the records somewhere. There's that electronic paper trail. So you really want to make sure you report all of that. Having said that, a lot of us do private lessons, where we're working for ourselves, or we book the lessons, we arrange everything. And in that case, this is self-employment income, and you need to report all that income, but you can choose how to report it, because that income basically represents, your clients paying your business, and then your business is paying you. So you can decide when you're going to pay yourself, if it's going to be once a month or once a week or every 2 months, whatever it is. As long as you report that income, all of that income somewhere, you'll be okay. So if you can find a way to either, divide that income into the 4 weeks of the month. If you're paid monthly, you can divide it into 4 weeks, and if that means you still get a benefits payment, if your total income is low enough, doing it that way per week, that's a way you could do it. Or if it's not going to work out that way, if it's still going to be too high, you can report all that income in 1 week and say, okay, I'm paying myself once a month, and report it on 1 week, and then you won't get benefits that 1 week, but the other 3 weeks of the month, you might be low enough in income. So it's worth figuring that out, because you can kind of maximize your assistance that way. So anyway, yeah, that's something to think about for sure. And if you need help, you can call the union office. I'm happy to talk to you about that. But like I said, like it says in the disclaimer, we don't work for the TWC. We're not experts in this. Never even dabbled in this at all before the the pandemic, of course, because most musicians don't qualify unless you're on a W-2. Then you might have qualified before, but 1099 self-employed musicians didn't qualify at all before COVID, but now we do. So it's important to find out about that. So yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have for today. Let me check one more time the different places and see if we have a comment or a question. And I don't see any coming in right here, but that's all right. If you think of something, shoot us an email at ucac@afm433.com. If you are able, join the union. It's this is the voice for musicians for all of the United States and Canada, for the entire industry, yeah. It's also super important to participate in the letter writing campaigns and in the petitions about all the different legislation, especially about the Heroes Act, but of course the Save Our Stages Act, the Restart Act, the PRO Act, that has to do with being able to unionize. Those are all extremely important, and I'll include links to those at the bottom. And we're with the archive of the session today as well. It's important that we keep our voice going and keep making it so that our leaders have to hear our voice with those different campaigns, because they need to know that we're watching and that we need them to do their jobs. So if you're in the music business, if you're in music, please don't give up. Please stay in the industry, and we will get through this. It's going to help. The more information we share with each other, keep the network going, the more we participate in getting our voices out there to the leaders and to the government. It's going to help, and we can do it. So yeah, that's all I have for this week. Don't give up, and we'll see you next Friday at 1. Thanks.